Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. We're gonna do an update on Avalanche AVAX, and as you can see on the weekly time frame, after putting an initial double bottom around 17th of March, we managed to get the first initial target that built a larger double bottom that was targeting way higher, potentially getting into $32. Those plans were completely delayed or cancelled thanks to the turbulences coming from Bitcoin, geopolitical tensions, delays on the rate cuts, tariffs, lots of things going on in the past 2 months. All of that had put a lot of pressure, not just on AVAX, but on most of the altcoins and Bitcoin itself. Thanks to that, we went back to where we came from, around the range of $15, where we were ranging around early March to April. Let's remember that this is in the context of a lower low relative to July and lower highs during December relative to March. So AVAX is a coin that has been underperforming, and including the retracement that we are seeing in here relative to the rest of the coins is again a little bit more pronounced. I'm going to talk about this red line around $11 and the yellow line around the $32 in just a second. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. You want to do something great for the world? Go and open my altcoin videos, give them a like, watch them, write down a comment down below. We are in a journey in here to get the altcoin videos to more people, making them aware, informing them with data so people can take better decisions based on information and not on emotion. Before we go into this bearish news that I'm about to read, let's go now into these two potential targets, the bearish case and the bullish case. Well, the good thing is that we are defending still around the $16, $15 in this area. Contrarian to what happened in this point in here, that was a lower low relative to this one is not a lower low, it's a higher low, which is great. We are also touching base with the initial percentile in here at 44. That means that we have taken out everybody that got invested during the breakout. They are underwater or they already closed their position. That's why we have less longs and we're starting to get overextended in that direction. It is an area of value. If you scan with your eyes areas where there is less longs on AVAX, you're only gonna find February in 2025 and the early beginning in 2022 in the middle of the bear market. The rest of it, we usually have a lot more longs. So that means that if you're looking for longs in this area, you should feel a little bit proud of being in an empty room, pretty much surrounded by all people kind of shorting at the moment. And in terms of social, things are very quiet in this environment. The network now shows a social dominance of 0.67% relative to the very loud 6% that we had in December in 2023. Going back into the yellow and the red targets, the yellow target comes from a revenge rally that I'm expecting to see if we manage to defend this higher low that we just put at 38 on the weekly RSI. In theory, what we should be expecting in here with higher likelihood, of course nothing is guaranteed, is a wave up like this with a higher high. Eventually, we should be getting into the next resistance, the global one, which is currently located around 60. 60 RSI corresponds to 32 in the price. That's pretty much a 90% from here, and it's phenomenal because you don't need to have an expectation of put a new high or anything, which I wouldn't in the case specifically of Avalanche that has been putting lower highs. So any target that is beyond $50 is gonna have a big challenge to break the trend of lower highs, whereas just aiming for 30 from the very lows seems to be a better deal to me. Now let's assess the risk. No trade is an actual trade if you don't know the risk. Not knowing the risk is literally just flipping a coin. So we have this triple support in here, but what happens if it breaks? What do we have below it? From where we are, that support is already 11% down for a further test if we need to do so, but from where we are, if we go to the next level of support, that's 28%, and then we meet with the red line in confluence with $11 support that comes from this area in here in 2023. So why do I have that red line there? there, let's go into the RSI and let's place things like this so you can see. We have been bouncing over this line starting from the bear market, one test in September 2023, almost another test in March. So all I'm saying is that since we didn't touch this line, if things fail with Bitcoin putting an all-time high and losing the 100K, I will say I'm 50-50 between we need to lose 90 or we need to lose just 100K to pay a visit to this white line. The white line is RSI 33, and remember, in the bull market we visit 31 just in September 2023. So coming back and testing that before heading back up into the global resistance, it is something that we need to handle if it happens. That RSI 33, yes, is pretty painful, is a further 40% down, 7 points into $11. Unfortunately, on AVAX, I don't have liquidation levels that far. They are not listed on Trading Different, and on CoinGlass, I only have 3 months. So all I can see is that we just wiped all the short-term liquidity, that there is a little bit of leftover below $15, but we really cannot see what's going on with $11. All I can do is speculate that in between, around $13, there must be a big chunk of liquidity pools, just because we have a triple bottom, and each individual bounce from around the same price contributes to increase the size of the pool. Things are very quiet for Avalanche, but let's see what's being discussed in social network, news, and all of that. We got 2 news, moderate, bullish, 10 and 7 out of 10. The top one says Avalanche pops 8% but stalls at 18.5 resistance. That is just an observation in the price. They say it's a must to reclaim that level to invalidate the head and shoulders that we are seeing across the board on every single altcoin pretty much. And the 7 out of 10 bullish news says that retail sells 821,000 while whale keeps buying. Let's see if that's true, if the whales are actually buying. There is a divergence and that's considered bullish, but we need to go and observe tools that we actually can trust instead of just articles. I'm actually gonna open the article and see if they show any specific tool they're using. They're using CoinGlass and they're looking into inflows and outflows, funding rates, descending wedges on the 4-hour time frames with targets of $22. So apparently they're using this dashboard that I'm not familiar with called Smart Money. I'm just gonna go to what I trust, which is CryptoQuant, and I can see that spot taker CBD at the moment is still in the sell, dominating. Everything else is in the neutral, and despite the fact that Bitcoin has been moving up together with general stocks, Avalanche is still kind of not really showing a lot, we could say. A final summary is that we have a mixed bag, right? So we retrace the whole progress that we did from the descending wedge, that we were supposed to go a lot further away into the top of the range. But the beginning of this has been a little bit more than disappointing because we came back straight into $1571. All we have to say that is bullish is that we are still defending that level and that we haven't put a new low relative to this trend of new lows that we've been following since July in 2024. If we manage to successfully defend $16, we want to continue as soon as possible with challenging $20 to start talking about that target of 32. Still, around this area, we are entering into a hot zone for opportunity, despite the fact that the upside might be limited due to the poor performance of the asset. So if you're bullish on Avalanche, don't be that dude that is bullish only when we're going up, and try to think where is the actual opportunity to enter, split your buy into multiple orders, and always keep in front of you before you hit any button on the screen what is the actual risk and how you're gonna manage it in case it hits. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.